But right now, it looks like this is, I think we've got our new front runner. I am so impressed that Biden is still even second place, given how badly he did in Iowa and New Hampshire. I mean, bro got beat by Klobuchar. Crazy. You know, if you, I think it was something like for every 3 people that voted for Biden, there was like 1 Yang gang. So, I mean, geez, that's oh no. Yeah, I think it was something like that. Well, either way, Biden's not doing well. Bloomberg, look at this. Bloomberg is new 3rd place guy, although Warren is not that far behind. And then Buttigieg is 4th. Klobuchar 5th, and our boy Andrew still hanging in there, although obviously trending down. If you look at the chart, where be the chart? Come on now. Hold on. Sorry, guys. My browser is slow as molasses. Here's the chart. Okay. So you've got Biden having a very strong downward movement. That's not looking good. Although, honestly, I'm impressed that he's not doing worse for 2 reasons. He got his butt kicked in Iowa and New Hampshire as the sitting vice president. And he really, honestly, I watched that New Hampshire debate and I thought he literally looked old. Like, you know, Biden, Sanders, Warren, they're all in their 70s, but there's being in your 70s, and then there's like looking like you're in your 70s. And freaking Biden did not look, you know, strong and vibrant. What else is noticeable here? You've got Bloomberg is the orange. Look at this orange line. The orange line starts, let's get the date down. Hold on. Around, when did we first see Mr. Orange? Wow. Dude was below Yang in the November 18 polls and then spent $300 million. But in fairness to Bloomberg, not only did he spend $300 million, but Biden really kind of pooped the bed. And so moderates who are not ready for a Sanders presidency and who were thinking that Biden was their safe choice have nowhere else to go. Where are they going to go? You know, I guess some will go to Buttigieg, but honestly, Buttigieg is a young man. I mean, he's like in his 30s, right? I don't know if anybody on the live stream is older than 30. Some of you are. You remember what you were like in your 30s. You were very capable, but you're probably more capable now. At any rate, I know what you're thinking. If you're Mayor Pete supporter, you're probably thinking, well, then by that argument, we should elect Biden. There is probably like a sort of peak sweet spot for your age. I'm not sure what it is, and it's probably different for different people. But Buttigieg, I mean, he's in his 30s. He's the mayor of a town of, 75,000 people, and that's super impressive. But to be the president of the United States is a pretty big job. And so if you ask me, I know a lot of people don't like Bloomberg being a billionaire and spending all this money, but he's probably done more in his life than Buttigieg has. And he's accomplished more and probably learned more lessons. But let's not turn this into a slam fest on Mayor Pete, because who knows, he could become our nominee. And if he does, then I will certainly support him over Trump. Warren, remember there was a point here where Warren looked like she was about to be our front runner? When was that? let's see. That was around October, early October. Warren was tied with Biden. And then just a really tough trend for Warren. I mean, this whole field looks, can I just say it? Looks weak ass. This is a weak ass field. You've got Biden barely staying relevant. You've got Bernie, who is strong, but like has a ceiling. Like there's just some percentage of the Democratic Party that's going to be crazy in love with Bernie. Maybe call it up to as much as 30%. But then you've got the other 60% of or 70% of the Democratic Party that's not comfortable with Bernie. And they've got nowhere to go. So where are they going to go? They're not going to go to Biden. Many of them don't like Bloomberg because he's a billionaire, because stop and frisk, because he's old too. I get it. But then they're clearly not going to Warren. I mean, 12% at this point, it doesn't seem like she's the ticket that they're ready to buy. And Buttigieg, I mean, impressive that he's gone this far based on, you know, such a short resume. Klobuchar, you know, not the most charismatic, not the most inspiring. Definitely a workhorse, definitely gritty. So I respect that. But when you think about who do you want in the ring with Donald J. Trump, I don't know. None of them look really impressive. Okay. Let's move. So that's the national polls. Now let's move on to the, I guess Nevada's coming up, right, guys? Let's look at Nevada polls. So the last one was actually just closed out a couple days ago. And you've got Sanders at 25. You've got Biden at 18. Somehow. You've got Warren at 13. Woo, look at this. Steyer. We never really talked about Steyer in the national polls, but my understanding is boy dropped some money in Nevada and South Carolina. And you have Steyer, you know, basically tied with Buttigieg and Klobuchar. So if you look at this chart, hold on. Who's this blue? That's Sanders. And then Biden is the green dropping down. Wow, look at Warren. Warren struggling. Warren seems to have, like, I mean, there was one point where she was probably early October, just like the national polls, right? Oh, no, in Nevada, looks like November at 20%, but never in first. And then you have Steyer, which is this gray line, came out of nowhere. Bro, you know, there was a point, let's see, back in, well, no, Steyer's always been pretty strong in Nevada. I was going to say there was a point where Yang was ahead of Steyer, but I'm not seeing it. No. Wow, look at that. Oh, maybe way back when in August of 19. Yeah. But now you've got Steyer in fourth, but kind of powering up. And so that'll be a battle between Steyer and Warren. It'll be interesting if Warren finishes fourth in Nevada. There, you got to ask yourself, especially if you're a progressive, maybe it's time for Warren to step aside, have her supporters go to Bernie, and then Bernie would have a solid 35% or something, and then we'd have to see who wins the moderate vote. Interesting that Bloomberg is not on here. I guess he's not on the ballot in Nevada, so that's probably why they don't even ask about him. So that's Nevada, and then let's look at South Carolina. South Carolina, we have a very recent poll, just closed out yesterday, has Biden, still strong. I guess no one in South Carolina was watching what happened in Iowa and New Hampshire or doesn't care and is just staying loyal to Biden, which I respect. Although, again, like, man, that Biden did not look strong, like physically. And I know people are going to be out there saying, well, you know, hey, don't judge a person by their looks or whatever, but it is a hard job. Like, that's not a 9-to-5 job. I mean, I guess there are some presidents who treat it like a 9-to-5 job, but it's really not supposed to be. At any rate, that's Biden. And then you got Sanders, number 2. Yeah, look at this. Steyer, number 3. So look at this. If Warren gets number 4, if she gets 4th place, or even worse, 5th, if Buttigieg pulls ahead. If Warren gets 4th place or worse in Nevada and South Carolina, my sense is she'll stick around through Super Tuesday. Seems to me like but I don't know. I think maybe Super Tuesday. Yeah, I would imagine if you're going to go all the way to South Carolina, why not just see what happens in Super Tuesday? Which is kind of part of the reason why I'm so bummed that Yang suspended his campaign. I feel like, I mean, I get it, man. Getting 5% in Iowa and 3% in New Hampshire, those are not great numbers, but I feel like we still have some fight in us. But, you know, maybe we'll see Yang again. Maybe we'll see Yang again in some capacity. Either if I had my druthers, he would unsuspend his campaign. And the reason why is not necessarily because I think that we have some great shot at getting the nomination, but I think that his message and his voice needs to be heard. And by suspending the campaign, in a way, you're kind of like turning off your mic. I know we in the Yang Gang are still pushing. I mean, look, we're all here. There's almost 200 concurrent viewers right now. So we all care. So it's not like he suspends his campaign and everything stops, but certainly it doesn't amplify the message when you suspend your campaign. On the other hand, I don't know. I don't know all the details, and the guy freaking devoted like 2 years of his life right to this movement. So, and maybe he has something, maybe he's playing the long game. Maybe he's got some moves coming up. Anyway, so that's South Carolina. And then Super Tuesday. Let's look at Super Tuesday. Whoa, there's a lot of action Super Tuesday. So here we go. And by the way, this is coming up. Super Tuesday is not that far away. It's only March 3rd. So you've got Sanders, Biden, technically because they average a bunch of recent polls. But if you look at the last couple of polls, Biden's really struggling. He's barely second. He's more like third in California. You got Warren doing well in California. And then Bloomberg. And look at this. Yang, 5%. I guess this poll was Jan 27. So this is does not reflect our suspension. And then Texas, you've got Biden. You got really, if you look at the Tribune survey, you've got Sanders, then Biden, then Warren, then Bloomberg. Yang at 6 ahead of Klobuchar. But again, this was not that. This is pretty recent. This is Feb 9. See? Oh, man. I know. All right, moving on. North Carolina, Feb 5. You've got Biden, then Sanders. Wow. You know, Warren is consistently, I don't know where maybe she's thinking California is really going to be strong for her. I guess a 3rd place finish in California would be or a second place finish in California. That would, kind of put some wind in her sails. Yeah, maybe she thinks, but look at it. Look, Bloomberg's right there. North Carolina, Biden, then Sanders, then Bloomberg is third. Bloomberg's ahead of Warren in North Carolina. In Massachusetts, I would imagine Warren should be crushing it. That's her state, obviously. You've got her. Well, this poll was in October, so we're not even going to. Oh, man, these polls are freaking old. Look at this. Another one in October, September. All right, here's one. Utah was kind of late Jan. That has Sanders, Warren, Biden. Ooh, look at that. Yang and Buttigieg tied. I can't help but call out Yang's numbers. I know he's suspended. And then really old ass polls for Colorado and Oklahoma. So I would say, look, people care about California, Texas, and North Carolina because that's where the delegates are. So let's see. If you just focus on those three big states for Super Tuesday, you're gonna be really happy if you're Bernie Sanders. I mean, it's very clear. According to polls, he's going to be number one. Maybe Biden will make it closer. Doubtful. So you got to assume California is going to go to Sanders. For Texas, I don't believe Biden's 22% is. I think that's very optimistic. We know in the polls for Iowa and New Hampshire, they had Biden stronger than he actually delivered. Biden seems to underperform based on his polling numbers. So that's probably going to go to Sanders too. And then North Carolina could potentially still stick with Biden because even if he doesn't come in 25%, but comes in 20, unless you see some kind of crazy Bloomberg surge, it could be for Biden. So I guess when I would look at the Super Tuesday polls, it's a good Biden story. So zooming out, when we look at these polls, I would say it's Bernie time on the polls, unless the moderates get their act together and stop splitting between Bloomberg, Biden, and Buttigieg. I mean, look at that. If Bloomberg, Biden, and Buttigieg combined into one candidate, let's just look at the data. Let's be very clear here. Let's look at this. So we said, oh yeah, look, California is for sure Sanders. He's crushing it. He has 30%, right? Now imagine Biden's, and then you say, well, Tom, you're going to add up all the moderates. That's not fair. Fine. We'll add up Warren. Assume all of Warren's supporters went to Sanders. That's still 45. But if you add up Biden 15, Buttigieg 23, then Bloomberg 27, Klobuchar and Yang it'll be 35. It'd be kind of tied almost. So that is interesting. It's interesting. Where the hell? Yeah, look at that. Well, I guess for California, really almost half of the Democratic Party is pretty, progressive, let's say. And then if you look at Texas, so let me correct myself. Bernie is strong no matter what, even if all the moderates combine in California. Because if you assume the progressives combined, then they would actually probably have a little edge over the moderates in California. Now, if the moderates converge and Warren stays in the race and continues to split, let's say Warren doesn't drop out, but let's say Biden does. So his 21, let's say either gets added to Buttigieg or Bloomberg, and now you're at 31, 35, probably because you'll pick off some Klobuchar people, to Sanders 25 and Warren's 20. So even in California, you could see a moderate win. Maybe a lot of it really depends on, for all the Bernie supporters out there, I don't think I need to tell you this, but this really depends on how long Warren decides to stay in the race. Because if she sticks in there and doesn't go away, but the moderates start converging with, obviously the big move would be a Biden suspension. If Biden stays in, then and Warren leaves, then Sanders locks up that progressive wing, comes in Texas like 39%. And then you've got Biden, Bloomberg, Buttigieg, and Klobuchar just splitting their support. Oh my God. This is frightening. I mean, if you're a Bernie supporter, you're loving this. But if you want to win and you believe that to beat Trump, we need someone that's more moderate and isn't, quote unquote, super progressive, then you're really scared right now. So let me summarize the polling numbers this way. If you are a progressive, you want Warren to probably leave because she's not going to make it. She has under-delivered in Iowa and New Hampshire. And Bernie's freaking strong. So if you're a progressive, let's not mess around, just converge. Now, if you're a moderate, you probably want Biden to get the hell out of town because he's sucking up all this moderate support and then preventing Bloomberg or Buttigieg, I suppose, from consolidating that moderate support. Anyway, so that's the polls.
Gang, gang, 2020. Gang, gang, 2020. Gang, gang, 2020. Gang, gang. Yang gang 2020. Yang gang 2020. Yang gang 2020. Yang gang. Yeah, yeah. Yang gang 2020. Yang gang 2020. Yang gang 2020. Yang gang. Yeah. I want 1,000 a month, 1,000 a month. I want 1,000 a month, 1,000 a month. Let's get this bread. Freedom dividend. Are all y'all paying attention? Automation gonna sweep the nation unless we get him in. Andrew Yang, 2020 freedom dividend. Yang gang, 2020. Yang gang, 2020. Yang gang, 2020. Yang gang, yeah, yeah. First we get this money, then on 420. He gonna give some high fives to some high guys. Decriminalize marijuana so we can smoke if we wanna. Down with the opioid trend, up with the mental health thing. Yeah, math, yo, it's just math. Yo, it's simple math. Yo, can you do math? Yo, eliminate super PACs, color stars making stacks, student loan forgiveness plan, cops wearing cameras and climate change is real again. Science rules. Teachers bringing home some bread. Medicare for every citizen. That's nice. Andrew Yang, 2020 freedom dividend. Yang gang, 2020. Yang gang, 2020. Yang gang, 2020. Yang gang, yeah, yeah. Yang gang, 2020. Yang gang, 2020. Yang gang, 2020. Yang gang, yeah, yeah. Yo, a vote for anyone else is like negative $1,000 from your pocket every month.